There is also a lot of aggression in adolescence. Why does that come, ma'am? Where is that coming from? What is the root cause of this?
Again, their anger comes in because they're going through also hormonal changes. The teenage brain is going through a lot of change, so they experience more overwhelm than other age groups. And at that point, we're also putting a lot of academic pressure on them. They have their own peer pressure to deal with. Their body is very awkward. It's going through a lot of changes. They're very uncomfortable with many of the things that are happening. So a lot of overwhelm. And then there is this parent who's also saying, you haven't studied, your marks are not good enough, etc. Instead of trying to communicate and try and understand what is happening. So that aggression is also something that we need to understand. Boys experience a lot more aggression because testosterone, the hormone that is most often at a higher level for them, doesn't allow them to regulate anger, and they're not able to take whatever impulse they're feeling and convert it into a thought. So if I have to give you an example, if I were to take this as the model of the brain, this is the part of the brain we call the brain stem, this part. This is in utero, it develops in utero, it's developed when the baby is in the mother's womb. This part we call the limbic system, the emotional system. The teenager's brain can have easy access to this. Then there's the cortex, which is what we draw when we draw the brain, right? So to be able to regulate emotion, I need to be able to take something from the brain stem, calm it at the level of the brain stem, which we call the bottom-up approach. So I calm it here through breathing, through movement, etc. Or I have to calm it through thought, which is the top-down approach. I think through my emotions. For a teenager, the top-down approach is very tough. For young children, the bottom-up approach is difficult.
I see.
So we need to understand as parents, talking to a child when they're already experiencing aggression, you're expecting them to work from here, may not work. You need to get them here and help them to calm down physically, which could be just taking a small walk with them, helping them to drink, take small sips of water, things like that. So we need to understand that aggression is an extreme form of anger, and we shouldn't let it escalate to that point and then try to calm them down. When you start getting the triggers for anger, which is, you already realize, the face has changed, the child is breathing deeper, you let them know, okay, I understand you're getting angry, let's sit down and calm ourselves. And it has to be ourselves, because the parent is equally angry at that point. So that's where, helping children work through their emotions works better.
Ma'am, is this another way of a child to get attention from their parents, that they show aggression, or has this become a mode of communication to get parents' attention, ma'am?
And it's both, because one, I've also modeled this adult in the family who's using aggression and getting his or her way. For example, the mother raises her voice and everybody calms down, they get it, or the father raises his voice and he gets his way. So the child is saying, okay, the only way things get done in this house is when you raise your voice. That is one, that's the model part. The second is the child says, I decently asked you for this. I said, I just want a little bit of downtime, or I just want a little bit of rest, and you kept saying study, 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 and you kept pushing me without trying to understand what I'm going through. And therefore, to be heard, the child understands only if I raise my voice, I will get what I want. And I wouldn't put it in attention, because attention seeking is a completely different behavior. This is one of the ways in which I can use my voice to be heard. And secondly, I'm saying, please understand me. I'm reaching out for connection. I'm saying, please understand me. And as parents and as adults, generally, if we understand that any emotion is usually a way in which I'm trying to connect to another human being, I think we would have made a lot of progress.
Ma'am, how do parents recognize that the child is getting angry, to communicate to them? How do they deal with this, and what would be the strategies to calm the child down?
So every emotion has a physical component, and then it has a narrative, a story kind of component, and a subjective experience that's there. When somebody is in tune with their own emotions, that's when they can understand another person's emotions. If I know that my anger starts with, my breathing becoming warmer, for me it's a temperature intensive emotion, or, my stomach tightens up or something. Where do I experience, or how do I experience anger is the first experience. My awareness of my emotion is the first.
You have to be in tune with your own emotions to understand somebody else's emotions.
Yes, that's the first. Secondly, unless the parent knows that, they're only going to try and control, because they're seeing something getting out of hand and they want to control it. When I'm in touch with my emotion, I become more sensitive to the cues that your body is sending me. I realize that my child is, tearing up or getting, the body tightening. That's the first step. The second is to learn immediately to calm yourself down as an adult. Breathe, do whatever it is that helps you stay calm. Right?
So when I see a conflict or aggression on somebody, I might get overworked and start having big feelings. So I have to recognize.
That's what we call the trigger. So when you identify what in the environment can trigger you, you are in tune with yourself a lot more, and then you're able to relate to the child better. So the first is becoming aware, second is to become aware of the triggers, the third is to calm yourself down well, and then the fourth is the most important, is to co-regulate with the child, which is that they're going through a difficult time, help them calm down just the way you've calmed yourself down. Once this happens, children stop using aggression. They will experience anger because that's a normal range, but they will not act it out and cause harm or hurt to another person.
Thank you so much, ma'am. I hope this helps parents deal with aggression in their child.